ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितां तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादा सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमां विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण। So welcome back to Wisdom of Srimad Bhagavatam. In the last session, we covered the chapter 18 of Canto 1, which was entitled Pariksit Maharaj Curse by a Brahmana Boy. And today, the plan is to complete the 19th chapter as well, which is entitled The Appearance of Sukadeva Goswami. 19th chapter, which is the last chapter of this canto. And hopefully, today we will complete Canto 1. So, in the last session, what we saw was the sages of Naimisharanya. They blessed Suta Goswami with a long life and eternal fame. And the reason was because they were quite pleased with the Krishna Katha that Suta Goswami was speaking. And they were thinking that it was like a nectar for the mortal beings who are otherwise going to die. They compared their fire sacrifice that they are doing, which is just causing smoke and their bodies becoming black. And it is not even guaranteed success, because there are so many other obstacles which would come in that. But hearing Krishna Katha, they were saying that it is not like in future we are going to get some benefit out of it. Of course, future they will get, but they are saying that we are realizing the benefit of Krishna Katha because it is nectar-like. We are feeling that it is nectar. So uh, we saw that Srila Prabhupada concluded in the purport that in Kali Yuga, Sankirtan Yajna is the only Yajna that is there, and that is going to give us any fruits. Then the sages of Naimisharanya, they glorified the association of pure devotees. That even a moment of association from a pure devotee, Bhagavad Sangi Sangha, that they mentioned, that surpasses heavenly elevation. Like anyone who wants to go to heavenly planet and enjoy, or someone wants to get liberation, that is nothing in as compared to just a moment of association of a pure devotee. And they continued and they glorified Krishna Katha, that how, because Krishna is a Akhila Rasamrita Murti, then anyone who has developed some taste for Krishna Katha, they will never feel satiated. They will want to hear more and more and more. Whereas all the material enjoyment, they immediately give satiation. And then we go from bhoga to tyaga. And then after some time, again we go to bhoga. But for the spiritual activities, especially Krishna Katha, we want to hear continuously. Apratihata we can do. We also saw that this setting where um, the speaker, Sutta Goswami, is a perfect speaker, qualified speaker. He is coming from the bona fide parampara. He has heard it from the right sources. And then there are eager hearers of Srimad Bhagavatam. And the topic that they are speaking about is also perfect. So there is a perfect speaker, perfect hearer, and a perfect subject matter. And in this setting, then there is an uninterrupted flow of Krishna Katha that can happen. Suta Goswami then humbly noted that he is not coming from a Brahmana birth. So he's saying that I am really actually unqualified. And Lord's glories are unlimited. Even Lakshmi Devi, Lord Shiva, or Lord Brahma, they are also serving the Supreme Lord. So such an unlimited, the Supreme Lord, and we are limited, like the Jiva is limited. On top of that, I am unqualified. Sutta Goswami is thinking that I am unqualified because I did not even get a proper birth. But he's saying that just by hearing from the right source, that is Sukadeva Goswami, all the disqualification, they are wiped out. And he continues and says that such an unlimited Lord's glories cannot be actually adequately explained by a limited jiva like me. But just like a bird is flying in an unlimited sky based on their capacity, he said that I will also explain based on my knowledge and my realization. And then he starts speaking about how Pariksit Maharaj got cursed. So he mentioned that once upon a time, Maharaj Pariksit was very fatigued and thirsty and hungry while he was hunting in a forest. And at that time, he entered in the hermitage of Shamik Rishi, and the Rishi was absorbed in a deep trance, and he could not receive Pariksit Maharaj. So Pariksit Maharaj felt neglected, and he was momentarily overcome by anger. And in that anger, Parikshit Maharaj placed a lifeless snake like a garland around his neck, around his shoulders, like this. And he left. It was quite uncharacteristic of Parikshit Maharaj, who is always respectful towards Brahmana. Uh, he always takes guidance and advice from them, and he understands properly that Lord Shri Krishna loves cows and brahmanas, so he would have never done like that. But it was by Lord's arrangement. We talked quite in detail last time that it was by Lord's arrangement that all of this pastime is happening, because Lord wanted Parikshit Maharaj to now come back to him. So when say Shamik Rishi's son Shringi is quite immature, a small boy, child, but he was puffed up by his Brahminical pride. So when he heard about what has happened with his father, he uh, blasphemed Parikshit Maharaj. He compared him with a dog at the door and whatnot. And then he cursed him, saying that he will die with uh, with the bite of a snake bird, Takshaka, within 7 days. So on learning this, Shamik Rishi did not congratulate uh, his son. He lamented, and he thought that this is, uh, you have given actually a great punishment for an insignificant offense. And this is a great sin that you have committed. So the king represents the Lord on earth. And if you abolish a nice king like Parikshit Maharaj, then the monarch, like once the king is gone, then the thieves will be abundant in the kingdom, and then a lawlessness will come. And especially for Parikshit Maharaj, he said that he's a pure devotee of the Lord. He was protected by the Supreme Lord, and he's a Rajarshi, and you shouldn't have done like this. And such a small offense should have been forgiven. And he understood that the Lord will not be happy with Shringi doing this great offense towards his pure devotee. So he prayed for his forgiveness. So he prayed to Supreme Lord to forgive Shringi. And he also glorified the tolerance of devotees. And then he regretted the whole incident. And that is where we had completed and finished chapter 18. Let us start with chapter 19, the appearance of Sukadeva Goswami. So we are entering this chapter 19. So what happened after Parikshit Maharaj was cursed? So what is the reaction of Parikshit Maharaj after he knew about the curse? That is what is going to happen in this chapter. A flow of this chapter is, as you can see on the screen, what happens is in the beginning, we will see that Parikshit Maharaj regrets. And when he hears about that he has been cursed, he gratefully accepts the curse. And then he renounces everything. And when he goes and sits on the bank of Ganges, at the bank of the Ganges, and at that time, all the sages from all around the universe, they come around. And at that point, Parikshit Maharaj submits himself to those sages and asks two wonderful questions. He asks, what is the unalloyed duty of everyone in all circumstances? Very similar to the question which was asked by uh, Shaunakadi Rishis to Sutta Goswami in the first 6 questions that they ask in first chapter. So what is the unalloyed duty, dharma, of everyone in all circumstances? And the second question was very relevant for himself. Parikshit Maharaj asked, what is the specific duty of those who are about to die? And he says that, please give me an answer which is like you discuss amongst ourselves and give me one answer. What is the unalloyed duty of everyone in all circumstances, and what is the specific duty of those who are about to die? And while all the sages who are assembled there, they were discussing, at that time Sukadeva Goswami appears. Then everyone respects Sukadeva Goswami, gives him the Vyasasan, and then feeling very extremely grateful for his appearance there, Parikshit Maharaj pays his obeisances, and he put forward the same two inquiries to him. And then Sukadeva Goswami starts speaking. And that's where the chapter will finish. And then from second canto onwards, Sukadeva Goswami will start speaking. So that is how the chapter is going to flow. First verse. Suta uvacha महीपतिस्वत् तत्कर्म गरिहं विचिन्तयन्नात्मकृतं सुदुर्मनः अहो मया नीचमनार्यवत्कृतं निरागसी ब्रह्मणि गूढतेजसी.
Hare Guruji. Sri Sutta Goswami said, while returning home, the king Maharaj Pariksit felt that the act he had committed against the faultless and powerful Brahmana was heinous and uncivilized. Consequently, he was distressed.
So we are seeing how Parikshit Maharaj is repenting about and regretting about the activity that he has done. So he was returning now from the forest to his palace, and immediately he started thinking that I have done a heinous and uncivilized, anarya act that I have done. And towards whom? Towards a faultless and powerful Brahmana. So he was feeling very distressed that how could I do like this? How could I do like this? Srila Prabhupada is mentioning in the purport Um, Mataji, you can read Shama Kumari Mataji. The devotees are naturally faultless. So around mid of the purport. It's a small purport.
The devotees are naturally faultless. Accidental sins committed by a devotee are sincerely regretted. And by the grace of the Lord, all sins unwillingly committed by a devotee are burnt in the fire of repentance.
Very, very wonderful lesson that Srila Prabhupada is giving us. That even a pure devotee sometimes, like Parikshit Maharaj, sometimes accidentally make get involved into some sin. But by doing regret or repentance after that activity, then by the grace of the Lord, then such a sin can be washed off, cleared off. And the Lord has already said that, right? In the Bhagavad Gita, He's saying, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vrajam aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shuchah. The Lord says that I will take care of it. All this sins which we have accumulated for many millions of lifetimes, then that can be done. But these sins should not be consciously done. These are done accidentally. It is uncharacteristic for the pure devotees to do such activities. And then those will be taken care of. Second verse. Dhruvam tato me krutdev helanad duratyayam vyasanam nati dirghat tadastu kamam yaga nishkritaya me yatha na kuryam punareva madhva
King
punar
Parikshit,
punareva madha. Yeah, go ahead.
King Parikshit thought, due to my neglecting the injunctions of the Supreme Lord, I must certainly expect some difficulty to overcome me in near future. I now desire without reservation that the calamity come now, for in this way I may be freed of sinful action and not commit such an offense again. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So while repenting, so his repentance is so sincere, we can say. While repenting, we may ask for forgiveness. I think there is quite a lot of noise which is happening in the background. Let me see. If you can mute, if you are not speaking, that will be good. Thank you. So while repenting, if we commit some sinful activity and we are repenting, we may ask for forgiveness. That please, oh Lord, please forgive me for this activity that I have done. But Parikshit Maharaj is asking for the opposite. He is expecting that a calamity will come soon upon me because I have neglected Lord's injunction. What is Lord's injunctions? Lord's injunction in his desire and Lord's injunction both are that he wants to protect the cows and brahmanas. Go brahmana hitaya cha. So he knows that this action that I have performed won't be pleasing to the Supreme Lord. So that's why he's saying, now Lord is not going to be happy and a calamity should come upon me. So he's saying, sorry, it will come upon me. And then he is desiring. So he expected it, but now he is desiring as well in the same verse. He's saying that a calamity should come soon so that I can be free from the sin and not commit, because I should learn a lesson from it and not commit such an offense again. So quite a complete different way of thinking that Parikshit Maharaj is showing. Instead of asking for forgiveness, he's saying that let that calamity come soon. Instead of coming afterwards or getting forgiveness, let that calamity come soon so that what will happen, I will learn a lesson and I should not do such an activity again. Because if I am punished heavily, then I will learn it properly and I will never do this again. So Parikshit Maharaj is just an amazing devotee. So Srila Prabhupada is mentioning in the purport, he's saying that just like a devotee, if in a family, if there is one person also, he becomes devotee, they can liberate the entire family. So a devotee, like a person becoming a devotee, actually helps the entire family. But in a similar way, if a sin is committed by a family member, then it is possible that it can affect the entire family as well. So Parikshit Maharaj wanted that this calamity should come upon me so that my family or my descendants do not have to suffer the reaction of the action that I have performed. So they haven't done anything wrong. So why they should actually get the reaction for it? So please give me the reaction now. Do not leave it for future and do not affect anyone else. So that is his expectation and desire. Third verse. अद्यैव राज्यं बलमृद्धकोशं प्रकोपित ब्रह्मकुलानलो मे दहत्वभद्रस्य पुनर्न मे भूत पापीयसी धीर द्विजदेव गोभ्या. Who's next? Uma Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Sorry. I am uncivilized and sinful due to the neglect of Brahminical culture, God consciousness, and cow protection. Therefore, I wish that my kingdom, strength, and riches burn up immediately by the fire of Brahmana's wrath, so that in the future I may not be guided by such inauspicious attitudes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So he started thinking that I am uncivilized because how can a civilized person do an activity of insulting a Brahmana who's in meditation? So he's thinking that I am uncivilized, I am sinful because I have neglected Brahminical culture, God consciousness, and cow protection. All of these things I have not done. So cow protection because he still remembers that in his kingdom the cow and bull was getting like Kali was harming them. So he's thinking that, see, cows are also not protected, and the Brahminical culture is also not uh, protected in my kingdom. So I'm very sinful king. So he's thinking that let the fire of Brahmana's wrath, that when the Brahmana wakes up from his meditation, he will find that somebody has insulted him, and then he will become angry, and that wrath, let that burn up the kingdom, strength, and wealth. Everything should be taken away because of that, so that in future I should not do such an act. And when he's saying that kingdom should be burned, it is not that he's expecting that the people in the kingdom should be burned. He's saying that the kingship that I have, like I'm a king and I have got this kingdom, so that should be broken. So I should lose my kingdom, I should lose my wealth, I should lose my strength in that wrath. And that is the way that I will learn some lesson out of it. Fourth verse. सचिन्तयन्नित्थ मथा शृणोद्यथा मुने सुतोक्तो निरृत्तिस्तक्षकाख्या स साधुमेनेन चिरेण तक्षका नलं प्रसक्तस्य विरक्तिकारणम्.
While the king was thus repenting, he received the news of his imminent death, which would be due to the bite of the snake bird, occasioned by the curse spoken by the sage's son. The king accepted this as a good news, for it would be the cause of his indifference towards worldly things. Hare Krishna.
The amazing characteristic of Parikshit Maharaj is visible here again. So what happened while the king, Parikshit Maharaj, was thinking like this, that I should get this wrath of the Brahmana, I should get punished for the sinful activity that I have done. He receives this news from Shamik Rishi. So when Shamik Rishi understood that Shringi has done this, he has prayed, he has chastised Shringi, he has prayed to the Supreme Lord for protection of Shringi, but at the same time, he did his duty. Shamik Rishi sent one of his students called Guru Mukha with the message to Parikshit Maharaj telling him that my son has cursed you, and he actually passed this news very regretfully. that my son has cursed you and you are going to be dying in 7 days by the bite of Takshaka. So why did he tell Parikshit Maharaj? Because he wanted Parikshit Maharaj to prepare for his death. Already he's thinking that his son has done something very wrong. So at least he wanted to give Parikshit Maharaj an idea that this has happened so that he can prepare in the 7 days for his death. Now, interestingly, Parikshit Maharaj could have used these 7 days to go back to Shamik Rishi and ask for his forgiveness, right? Because he has done some offense, so he should go back and ask for forgiveness. But he did not do that. Why? Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport. He says that because the news was conveyed to Parikshit Maharaj with a lot of regret. So he did not want to embarrass the sage any further by going and asking for forgiveness from him, because that would have actually just devastated Shramik Rishi even more because of embarrassment. And the second reason Srila Prabhupada mentions is that he did not desire the negation of the curse. Because as we saw in the previous verses, he was expecting and he wanted, he desired it. So he did not desire to negate the curse. And the best part is, like in this verse, it is saying that Parishit Maharaj accepted this as a good news. Somebody is telling him that you are going to die in 7 days and with by the bite of Takshaka. And he's saying that, wow, this is a good news. Why? Because he's thinking now, because of this, I will get the indifference towards the worldly things. He's thinking, I'm so materially attached. Now that this is happening, at least because of it, I will become indifferent towards worldly things. Amazing. Next verse, 5th verse. Atho vihaye mamumam cha lokam. Atho vihaye mam amum cha lokam. Vimarshito heyataya purastat. Krishnangri sevam adimanyamana upavishat prayamamartya nadyam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Maharaj Pariksit sat down firmly on the banks of the Ganges to concentrate his mind in Krishna consciousness, rejecting all other practices of self-realization, because transcendental loving service to Krishna is the greatest achievement, superseding all other methods. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So he gave up everything. He sat on the bank of Ganges with a vow not to eat, like fast till death. And it is mentioned that he rejected all other ways of self-realization because the scriptures give so many different ways that one can get self-realized. But he's a pure devotee. He had already concluded in the past that service to Krishna's lotus feet is the highest goal. So he just decided that I'll sit on the bank of the Ganges and just meditate on Supreme Lord Krishna's lotus feet, and I'll fast till death. And then let that Takshak come anytime and then bite me. I have no concern. I have no problem. Next verse. And just read the translation.
The river Ganges, by which the king sat to fast, carries the most auspicious water, which is mixed with the dust of the lotus feet of Lord and tulsi leaves. Therefore, that water sanctifies the three worlds inside and outside, and even sanctifies Lord Shiva and other demigods. Consequently, everyone who is destined to die must take shelter of this river.
Thank you, Maharaj. So this verse is explaining why he chose to sit on the bank of Ganges. Because the Ganges carries the most auspicious water, which is mixed with the dust of the lotus feet and the tulsi leaves which are offered at the lotus feet of the Lord. And that water becomes so purified because it has touched the lotus feet and the tulsi leaves offered at the feet of the Lord. that it can sanctify the three worlds where it is flowing. And not only that, it even sanctifies Lord Shiva and other devatas. Hence, it is recommended that everyone who is destined to die must take shelter of this river. That means all of us should take shelter of river Ganges. Srila Prabhupada talks about river Ganga and Yamuna in the purport. It's quite amazing. Let us read that. So around second or third line, which says, generally it is said.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji.
Yeah. Second line or so, Prabhu. Generally it is said in the purport. Sixth verse.
Yes, Prabhuji. Come on. Generally, it is said that the king took shelter on the bank of the Ganges, but according to Srila Jiva Goswami, the king took shelter on the bank of Yamuna. Srila Jiva Goswami's statement appears to be more accurate because of the geographical situation. Maharaj Pariksit resided in the capital Hastinapur, situated near present-day Delhi, and the river Yamuna flowed down past the city. Naturally, the king would take shelter at the river Yamuna because she was flowing past his palace door. And as far as sanctity is concerned, the river Yamuna is more directly connected with Lord Krishna than Ganges. The Lord sanctified the river Yamuna from the beginning of his transcendental pastime in the world. While his father Vasudeva was crossing the Yamuna with the baby Lord Krishna for a safe place at Gokul on the bank of the river from Mathura, the Lord fell down in the river, and by the dust of his lotus feet, the river at once became sanctified. It is specially mentioned herein that Maharaj Pariksit took shelter of that particular river, which is beautiful flowing, carrying the dust of the lotus feet of the Lord Krishna mixed with the tulsi leaves. Lord Krishna, lotus feet are always besmirched with the tulsi leaves, and thus, as soon as his lotus feet contacted the water of the Ganges and Yamuna, the rivers became more sanctified. The Lord, however, contacted the river Yamuna more than the Ganges. According to the Vara Purana, as quoted by Srila Jiva Goswami, there is no difference between the water of Ganges and Yamuna. But when the water of Ganges is sanctified 100 times, it's called Yamuna. Similarly, it is said in the scriptures that 1000 names of Vishnu are equal to one name of Rama, and 3 names of Lord Rama are equal to one name of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So, very wonderfully, Srila Prabhupada is explaining, quoting Jiva Goswami, that the river where Parikshit Maharaj is sitting may be actually Yamuna instead of Ganga. But irrespective of whether it is Ganga or Yamuna, both are very, very pure, and both have had contact with the lotus feet of the Lord and tulsi leaves. But Srila Prabhupada is emphasizing that Yamuna had more contact with Lord because for many, many years, Lord performed pastimes there. So both of these rivers actually they satisfy or fulfill the description which is given in these verses, which is called Amarta Nadya. Amarta Nadya means it is nectarian, like that kind. It is purifying, sanctifying rivers. Just like Amrita, it gives with the purification and sanctification. Similarly, this both the rivers actually are doing the same, and both are touched by Lord's lotus feet. So Srila Prabhupada is also giving the reference of Varaha Puran and explains that when the Ganges water is sanctified 100 times, then it is called Yamuna. So glorifying Yamuna even more than Ganga. Okay, let's go to translation for 7th.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thus the king, the worthy descendant of the Pandavas, decided once and for all and sat on Ganges' bank to fast until that and give himself up to the lotus feet of the Lord Krishna, who alone is able to award liberation. So, freeing himself from old kind of association and attachment, he accepted the vows of a sage. Hare Krishna.
So Parikshit Maharaj is a worthy descendant of Pandavas. It is mentioned, thus the king, the worthy descendant of the Pandavas. So he's a worthy descendant of the Pandavas. He gave up everything. He gave up his kingdom. He installed his son Janmejay as the king. And then after giving up his kingly dress and everything, he sat once and for all on the bank of Ganges to fast until death. And he gave himself to the lotus feet of the Lord. It is also mentioned in the same translation. Like in one translation, there are so many points are mentioned. So Lord Krishna is the only one who can award liberation. And Srila Prabhupada is actually mentioning and pointing this quite interesting point in the purport. He says that Ganges is able to sanctify the three worlds only because it has touched the lotus feet of the Lord. So if we take the shelter of those lotus feet, then the potency can clear all the sins, including the offenses committed towards the Brahmana. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada is saying further, like towards the middle of the purport, to be free from all material association means to cease completely from committing any further sins. To meditate upon the lotus feet of the Lord means to become free from the effects of all previous sins. So what is the meaning of meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord? That once we actually start meditating on the Lord's lotus feet, then any sins which are committed before will be gone. But at the same time, we have to be free from the material association. Material association, because any material association, we will keep committing further sins. The condition of the material world are so made that one has to commit sins, willingly or unwillingly. And the best example is Maharaj Pariksit himself, who was a recognized sinless pious king. So material world is created like this, that willingly or unwillingly, people will actually commit some sinful activities. And even like the pious king and a pure devotee like Parikshit Maharaj was also not free from that. So that is the reason why Parikshit Maharaj then decided that, okay, I'm giving up all the material association and I'm just focusing on the lotus feet of the Lord in the last 7 days that I have. So we can learn this amazing lesson from these first 7 verses where Parikshit Maharaj has been repenting for the sins that he committed, offense that he made. So by the grace of the Lord, all sins unwillingly committed by a devotee are burnt in the fire of repentance. This is the power of repentance. But repentance has to be sincere. And the second thing is, we should actually stop committing that offense. It should not be that every time you actually do something, you go and repent, and that way you get free from the offense, and so that next time again you can do that offense. So Srila Prabhupada always give this example of it should not be like the elephant bathing. That elephant is having so much dirt on his body, so it goes inside the river to clean himself. But as soon as he comes out, again he puts some dust on it, on his body. So it should not be like that. So once we have asked for forgiveness and we have repented for that, then we should stop committing that activity again, the sinful activity again. Okay, let's continue. Next translation, 8. Are
Hare
you next,
Krishna.
Mataji?
Hare,
Or okay,
Hare
we can,
Krishna, Prabhuji.
yeah.
At the time of these, at the time, all the great minds and thinkers, accompanied by their disciples and sages who could verily sanctify a place of pilgrimage just by the grace of their presence, arrived there on the plea of making a pilgrim's journey. Hare Krishna.
So we saw when Bhishma Maharaj, Bhishma Dev, was going to actually leave his body, suddenly all the sages from all over the universe came. And we are seeing the same thing happening again for Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj has given up everything. He's sitting on the bank of Ganges, and suddenly all the sages, great sages from all around the universe, and they are not ordinary sages. We will come to know all their names in the next 2, 3 verses. But in this verse, it is mentioned that each of the sage could sanctify the place of pilgrimage just by their presence. Just like Vidura, it has been mentioned, Bhavad Bhagavata's verse that we seen previously. So these sages are so pure that just by their presence, they are going to sanctify the place of pilgrimage. All these sages appeared along with their disciples as well. And they gave a reason that, oh, we are just going for pilgrimage of river Ganges. And that is why they have come there. So Srila Prabhupada is saying the first line in the purport. When Parikshit Maharaj sat down on the bank of Ganges, the news spread in all directions of the universe. So when Parikshit Maharaj sat there, immediately the news was broadcast. Their technology definitely was much more advanced because Parikshit Maharaj had only 7 days. Now, if from somewhere the sages have to start walking because they are not taking the Vimana airplane, right? So if they start walking, then by the time they reach Parikshit Maharaj where he's sitting, it will be 15th day or whatever, some other, after 1 year or so, they will appear there. But they appear instantly. Like they come to know that Parikshit Maharaj has sat there for giving up his body, then suddenly they appeared because they could actually travel at the speed of mind. So in a fraction of a second, all of them, they appeared there. And actually, even though they said that they came for pilgrimage, the main reason for their coming is obviously to meet Parikshit Maharaj and not take the holy bath in the river, because by taking the bath in the river, they are going to purify Ganges, not the other way around. They could foresee with their divine vision that Srimad Bhagavatam is going to be spoken there where Parikshit Maharaj is sat. And they knew that Sukadeva Goswami is going to be here and he's going to speak Srimad Bhagavatam for 7 days and 7 nights. And they wanted to take the advantage of this great occasion. And that is why all of them have appeared. Let us see who all have appeared there. Next.
From different parts of the universe, there arrived great sages like Atri, Chayavana, Sharadvana, Aristanemi, Bhrugu, Vasista, Parashraya, Vishwamitra, Angira, Parashurama, Uttatya, Indrapramada, Idamvahu, Medati, Devala, Aristasena, Bharadwaja, Gautama, Pipalada, Maitreya, Aruva, Kavasa, Kumbayoni, Dwaipayana, and the great personality Narada. Thank you.
Amazing line of sages which are mentioned here. And especially it is mentioned that Vyasadev also came, and Narad Muni also came, and so many other sages which are mentioned. Atri, Chavana, then Parashara, Indrapramada, Devala, Vasishtha, Vishwamitra, Bhrugu, Bharadwaj, so many sages which are mentioned. And Srila Prabhupada is giving little description about most of the sages which are mentioned here in the verse. So, based on the purport, I understood that there are actually multiple generations are here. For example, Vasishtha Muni, it is mentioned here that his grandson, Vasishtha's grandson, is Parashara. So Vasishtha's son is Shakti, and Shakti's son is Parashara. And Parashara's son is Vyasadeva. And Vyasadeva's son is Shukadeva. So who's going to arrive there? So Sukadeva Goswami, then his father is Vyasadeva, his grandfather is Parashara, his great grandfather is Shakti, who's not there, but his great great grandfather is Vasishtha. So such a generation, like multiple generations of the sages are there. Then Bhrugu Muni is there, and his son Chavana is also there. Angira Muni is mentioned, and his son Utatya is also mentioned there. So they are there. And there are, of course, Guru and Shishya, because uh, they receive the knowledge from their wonderful fathers and forefathers. But also, there are this other lineage or the Guru disciples which are there, which is Narada, is the Guru of Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva gave that knowledge to Shukadeva, who is going to arrive. And the previous verse also mentioned that all of these sages arrived with their disciples. So multiple generations and multiple generations of guru disciple relationships as well, which have appeared here. The next verse mentions even more other great devotees who have come. Next verse.
There were also many other saintly demigod kings and special royal orders like Arundatyas, a special rank of rishis from different dynasties of sages. When they all assembled together to meet the Emperor Pariksit, he received them properly and bowed his head to the ground.
So in the verse it is mentioned, Anne cha devarshi brahmarshi varya rajarshi varya arunadayasya. So devarshi, brahmarshi, rajarshi, all these and arunadaya, they have all come. So devarshi means the saintly devatas. Brahmarshi means saintly brahmanas. Rajarshi means saintly kings. And arunadayas, Srila Prabhupada mentions here in translation that there are special ranks of Rajarshis. So they are also saintly kings, but there are some special ranks in the Rajarshis. All of them came from different dynasties. And when they all arrived, Parikshit Maharaj received them properly and bowed his head to the ground. So he is expressing humility. So he himself is a pure devotee, but when he sees that all these saintly Rajarshis, Devarshis, Brahmarshis, they are there, he bows down um, his head. So it is mentioned here, he welcomed all the big men in that humble etiquette in order to be excused from any offenses. So if you bow down to these great devotees, then we can get excused from any offenses that we have committed. And Srila Prabhupada is recommending that definitely at the end of life, you should use this method to get excused from all the activities or offenses that we have done in our whole life. Parikshit Maharaj used this to get goodwill of all the sages to go back to Godhead. By showing this humility, by bowing down his head, he is seeking blessings from all these sages so that he can get goodwill for going back to Godhead. 12th verse. Come on fast.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandapana. After all the rishis and others had seated themselves comfortably, the king, humbly standing before them with folded hands, told them of his decision to fast until death.
So he waited for them to be seated comfortably. And once they have all seated down, then he humbly stood up in front of them with folded hands. And then he explained to them that this is what I have decided. I'm going to fast till death. I'm going to focus on the lotus feet of the Lord. He's mentioning this to them for getting the opinion of these great authorities in front of them. Srila Prabhupada has written a wonderful line here in the purport. He says, any decision, however important, should be confirmed by some authority. That makes the matter perfect. So actually, Parikshit Maharaj is a pure devotee himself. And it was mentioned in the previous verse that he has understood from the scriptures and by his own realization that by submitting to the lotus feet of the Lord is the highest perfection or highest process. But still, he is putting his opinion in front of the great sages, in front of the authority, and then asking for a confirmation. So any decision, however important, should be confirmed by some authority. That makes the matter perfect. That is the way to take decisions in the spiritual life. Not taking the decision on our own, but seeking guidance from the spiritual authority, and that will make a perfect decision. Text 13. Rajovacha Aho vayam dhanyatama nrupanam mahatyamanugrahaniya shila Radnyam kulam brahmana pada shauchad durad visrushtam batagariha karma.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. The fortunate king said, indeed, we are the most grateful of all the kings who are trained to get favors from the great souls. Generally, you, sages, consider royalty as refuse to be rejected and left in a distant place. Hare Krishna.
So he's feeling very fortunate. He's saying we are very fortunate. We are most fortunate actually. Aho vaya dhanyatama. Dhanyatama. So dhanya is I am fortunate. Dhanyatara means more fortunate. But dhanyatama is superlative. I am the most fortunate. To get favors from the great souls. Why he's feeling most fortunate is because he's getting favor from all these great sages who have appeared to give him company, give him association in the last 7 days. And why he's saying that? Because generally the sages stay away from the royalties, like the kings, because they are thinking that the kings are generally in mode of passion. They are always dealing with wealth, administration, women, and that is why they actually remain away from royalties or the kings. And Parishit Maharaj actually says that in a quite interesting way. He says that the sages consider royalty as refuse. Refuse means something which is to be given up. So just like a refuse has been rejected and then cast off at a great distance because they are involved in condemnable activities. So quite interesting. So just like Parishit Maharaj was happy to see and he felt fortunate to meet them, the sages were also eager to meet Parikshit Maharaj. And that is why they have all arrived to see this pure devotee of the Lord leaving the body. But Parikshit Maharaj is not thinking like this. Parikshit Maharaj is not thinking that, good that you have come to give me company. I will also give you my association. You also give me your association. That is not the mood of Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj is thinking that they have all come because of the greatness of Pandavas. It is not because I am great. It is because Pandavas are great and Lord Shri Krishna had favored Pandavas. So remembering all of that, all the sages have come to give me their blessings. This is the humility of pure devotee. They never consider themselves advanced. So it is quite interesting, we discussed this before, that the pure devotee who's really advanced, they never think that they are advanced. But a neophyte devotee who's not advanced starts thinking that they are advanced. So if any time in our mind, if we start thinking that I have made some advancement in Krishna consciousness, then you understand the message that we are still beginning of Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, we wouldn't have thought that we are advanced. Okay, next verse. तस्यैव मेघस्य परावरेषु व्यासक्तचित्तस्य गृहेष्वभीक्ष्णम् निर्वेदमूलो द्विजशापरूपो यत्र प्रसक्तो भयमाशु धत्ते.
Hare
The
Krishna.
Supreme
Mataji, is it you or me? Oh, sorry, the Zoom is bit.
I'm not sure, Prabhuji.
Mataji,
Okay,
you go
whoever.
ahead. You go ahead, Mataji. I'll do later.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the controller of both the transcendental and mundane worlds, has graciously overtaken me in the form of a Brahmana's curse. Due to my being too much attached to family life, the Lord, in order to save me, has appeared before me in such a way that only out of fear I will detach myself from the world.
So taking the curse as Lord's mercy, Parikshit Maharaj is saying that the Supreme Lord, the controller of both the worlds, has graciously overtaken me in the form of Brahmana's curse. So the Lord has overtaken me, but also he's saying that in order to save me, he has appeared before me in such a way that only out of fear I will detach myself from the world. So he's seeing such a wonderful Lord's mercy coming in the form Dvijashapa Rupo. So Brahmana's curse, he's seeing that it is Lord's mercy. So we saw in Narad Muni's situation as well, when his mother left the world. Such a small boy, he started thinking this is the special mercy of the Lord. And here as well, Parikshit Maharaj is thinking that me getting a curse to die in 7 days is a mercy of the Lord. So do you see the pattern that any difficulties, any challenges the devotees get in their lives, they take it as the mercy of the Lord. They are not thinking why the Lord is doing like this to me. I have been chanting 16 rounds for so many years. I've been following four little principles. I am associating. I'm having prasadam. And Lord, what have you done? No. So the advanced devotees, they think any challenges is a special mercy that the Lord has given. And especially Parikshit Maharaj is thinking that the Lord has done this in order to save me. Otherwise, I would have remained entangled in this material world. I would have remained as like a king till the end of my life. But the Lord is showing me special favor, special mercy, because of which I will now detach myself from this world. So he's taking it as a special mercy and he's thinking that the Lord has come to save me. Okay. 15th verse. Tammopayatam pratiyantu vipra Ganga cha devi dhrutachittamishe Dvijopasrushta kuhakastakshako va Dashatvalam gayata Vishnu gatha.
O Brahmanas, just accept me as completely surrendered soul, and let Mother Ganga, the representative of the Lord, also accept me in that way. For I have already taken the shelter of lotus feet of the Lord into my heart. Let the snake bird or whatever magical thing the Brahmana created bite me at once. I only desire that you all continue singing the deeds of Lord Vishnu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So what desires Parishit Maharaj is expressing at the end of his life is showing his true character. So he's saying, let all of you, all the sages who are present in front of him, so let all of you and Mother Ganges accept me as a surrendered soul, as I have taken the Lord's lotus feet in my heart. And I don't care, let this snake bird or whatever the magical thing that the Brahmana has created, let it come anytime and bite me at once. But my only desire is that you all of you continue singing Vishnu Gatha, like Krishna Katha. He always wants the Krishna Katha to be going on. And while that is going on, if I have to die, then there is no regret that I have. So this verse is clearly explaining that Parishit Maharaj is not fearful at all of death. Even though in the previous verse we saw that he was mentioning that only out of fear I will detach myself from the world. But it just out of humility he was expressing like that. But he is not at all fearful of death at all. Next verse. Punascha bhuyat bhagvat anante rati prasangascha tadashayeshu mahatsuyam yam upayami srushtim maitrastu sarvatra namo dvijebhya. More of his desires are actually getting expressed here. Very wonderful verse. Should be memorized. Yes, Sadashiv Prabhu, go ahead.
Again, offering obeisances unto all you Brahmanas, I pray that if I should again take my birth in the material world, I will have complete attachment to the unlimited Lord Krishna, association with his devotees, and friendly relations with all living beings. Hare Krishna.
So three desires he has expressed here. So I pray that if again I have to take birth in this material world, I should have these three things. One, complete attachment to the Supreme Lord Krishna. Second one, association with his pure devotees. And the third one is friendly relations with all living entities. The purport is actually quite amazing. Let us read the purport.
Shall I do it, Prabhuji? Or
Yeah, go ahead, Sadashiv.
first few lines, Prabhuji?
No, start from beginning. Entire purport we are reading.
Okay, good. Thank you. That a devotee of the Lord is the only perfect living being is explained herein by Maharaja Pariksit. A devotee of the Lord is no one's enemy, although there may be many enemies of a devotee. A devotee of the Lord does not like to associate with non-devotees, although he has no enmity with them. He desires association with the devotees of the Lord. This is perfectly natural because birds of the same feather mix together. And the most important function of a devotee is to have complete attachment for Lord Sri Krishna, the Father of all living beings. As a good son of the Father behaves in a friendly way with all his other brothers, so also the devotee of the Lord, being a good son of the Supreme Father, Lord Krishna, sees all other living beings in relation with the Supreme Father. He tries to bring back the upstart sons of the Father to a saner stage and to get them to accept the Supreme Fatherhood of God. Maharaja Pariksit was certainly going back to Godhead, but even if he were not to go back, he prayed for a pattern of life, which is the most perfect way in the material world. A pure devotee does not desire the company of a personality as great as Brahma, but he prefers the association of a petty living being, provided he is a devotee of the Lord. Hare Krishna.
So Srila Prabhupada is actually mentioning that there is a perfect way in the material world, or he calls it as a pattern of life. So perfect pattern of life in material world should have these three things: complete attachment to the Supreme Lord, association of his devotees, and friendly relationships with all the living entities. So that is how we can have a perfect pattern of life in this material world. Okay, there are a few things that we can actually derive or learn from these verses that we have seen till now. First one is how to make perfect decisions. That we saw, any decision, however important, should be confirmed by some authority that makes the matter perfect. So this statement of Srila Prabhupada is challenging one of the strong tendencies in Kali Yuga. So in Kali Yuga, we generally say, I will decide what is right based on my own intelligence, my feelings, or my preferences. And many times we are not even keen to go and ask for some advice because we are fearful. We are fearful that we will get an advice which is not as per my plan. But Maharaj Pariksit, even though he is self-realized, he is pure devotee, he is showing by his own example, by asking confirmation of his plans from these great sages who have assembled in front of him. He's teaching by his own example. He's showing his humility, accountability. He's also showing the importance of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. So even though the scriptures repeatedly tell us that we should be taking the guidance, what are some of the reasons that prevent us from seeking advice before making an important decision?
Our own ego, Prabhuji.
Our own ego, yeah. I think many of these hands are up. So so if these hands were for reading, if you can put your hands down. Amender Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, because of the ego, like we think that we know the best answer and we know what best for us. So that's I reckon is one thing. The second thing is like even in the material sphere, sometime we tend to segregate material and spiritual ones. But I believe even for the material one, it's always good to take Guru's what do you call it, permission or his guidance, because that might ultimately guide it to the spiritual as well. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. Lochana Harini Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam. Prabhuji, the question is why we refrain from taking advice from senior authorities when we are trying to do something important. I think, Prabhuji, in my understanding, when we know that we want to do something which we think is right, but internally we know that might not be the right thing. So we are, like you said, fearfulness that we might get rejected or someone might challenge our decision that, hey, this is not the right way to go to, you need to stop. But we don't want to stop. We want to go ahead and do it anyway. So that way we try to avoid seeking the right guidance. That's my understanding, Prabhuji.
Right. Shama Kumari Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, unflinching faith on our own intelligence, that I'm the most intelligent person and whatever decision I would make will be the right one. And
Yes,
also it will
overconfidence that we
satisfy
have.
my
Correct.
yes.
Overconfidence. That's right. Vishakha Mataji.
Same Prabhuji, if the senior authorities do not approve it, we might like feel bad because we have already decided to do it. So rather than asking and putting ourselves into that situation, just do it. Yeah.
Don't ask. That's the best way. Yes, that's the challenge that we have in this material world, isn't it? And the good advice is available, but we don't want to take good advice. We want to just go take our own way. And when we are already knowing that it is possible that we may get a different advice than what we have planned for, we are thinking, why ask? If we ask, then the devotee will be unhappy, thinking that the advice was given, but it is not taken. Okay, we'll take one or two other more points, then we will move on. Surananda Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I'm thinking a little different here, Prabhuji. Like, how do we balance between using your own intelligence and also thinking about the time of the superiors?
Yeah, you're asking me a question again at this point, but I am actually asking a question, so I'm looking for answers. I reserve that question for towards the end, and
Sure,
if you
Prabhuji.
remember that at that point, we can answer that. Sudhanma Prabhu or Mataji.
Prabhuji, also I wanted to add, like when we don't have the full faith and confidence and surrender attitude towards the authority, then also we won't be taking the proper advice.
Trust.
Yes,
Yeah.
No
that's
trust.
right. So because it may so happen that we are thinking that my intelligence is better than the authority's intelligence, the spiritual authority. So what advice they are going to give? I already have a better plan. Yes, that's good. Sannivas Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam.
Then
I think we don't want to change our comfort zone.
yeah.
So let me do what is happening. Okay, I'll do in this comfort zone only.
Yes, that's right. Okay, let's stop here. because otherwise we will have lots of other things. So I will ask few more questions, don't worry. So we don't want accountability. We don't want to surrender. We don't want accountability. We have overconfidence. There is a fear. There is ego, pride involved, attachment to our own plans. And there are so many things which actually prevent us from seeking advice. But one thing that we should actually think about is that um, if we are, suppose we are going to go into a new city, which is unknown to you, and we have seen the map before, for example, but are we just going to go with our memory at that time, or are we going to actually use GPS at that time? Obviously, everyone will go for a GPS. So if we need guidance for driving, then why do we think that we can navigate through life or spiritual decisions solely based on our intelligence? So we need to actually think more and more. So a practical exercise that we can do whenever we are taking some decisions, that uh, we can ask multiple questions to us. First one, what do I want? Okay, what exactly do I want? What is my desire? Then we should ask, what does my mind want? Okay. Then we should ask, what would Guru and Shastra recommend? In this situation, what should Guru and Sadhu recommend? And the fourth question is, what would senior devotees advise? Which is referring to sadhus. So Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. So basically, what do I want? What does my mind want? And what would Guru, Sadhu and Shastra will recommend? Guru and Shastra will recommend. And what will the senior devotees around us, they will recommend. And then the final question, which is the most important question, after you have asked all these questions, is, will this decision help me remember Krishna more or forget him more? So this is the most important. Anything that we are doing in our life, we should always consider, is this decision going to help me remember Krishna more or help me or make me forget Krishna more? And that's the way then we can take our decision. One of the other lessons that we can learn from these verses based on Pariksit Maharaja's desires, the three desires that he had, that complete attachment to Lord Krishna, associate with his devotees, and friendly relations with all living entities. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also said very similar things: Nama Ruchi, Vaishnava Seva, and Jiva Daya. So complete attachment to Lord Krishna is like Nama Ruchi. Association with his devotees is Vaishnava Seva. And friendly relations is Jiva Daya. So Parikshit Maharaj at the end of his life could have asked for many things, that give me liberation, give me heavenly enjoyments, give me mystic powers. Or if you are not able to give me all of these, at least if I have to actually take birth again in this material world, then make sure that I become a king again. Like, I am a king now. Everyone is praising me and they are saying that Parikshit Maharaj is a great king. So give me a royal birth. Or even if you cannot give that, at least make sure that I don't suffer in my next life. No, he doesn't ask any of these. He's saying that if I have to take birth again, then give me these three things. That I want to develop love for Krishna. That is the complete attachment to Lord Krishna. So if we have developed love for Krishna, then it doesn't matter actually whether we are in this material world or in the spiritual world. Because finally, that is our goal, to develop love for Krishna. So if we have developed love, then if taking birth again is no problem. So from our perspective, what we should ask at this point in time in our life, along for this complete attachment to Krishna, is that what am I more attached to today than Krishna? It's a very important question. Hear that again. What am I more attached to today than Krishna? So today, you look at your life and see, what am I more attached to than Krishna? And then see how we can actually change our attachment towards Krishna. Then the second desire, he's saying that associate with his pure devotees, or associate with his devotees. So even a pure devotee like Parikshit Maharaj does not want to practice spirituality alone. It is not that he's saying that doesn't matter, I'm a pure devotee now, I can go to the forest and even if there is no one else, I can survive and I can do my bhakti there. No, spiritual advancement depends on sadhu sangha. Association has to be apratihata as well. If the bhakti has to be apratihata, then the association has to be like that apratihata. It has to be eternal. It cannot be a temporary aid. We all know that we become like the people who we associate with. So for the second point, we should actually ask a question for us. That if someone examined, like they looked at the entire day for us and look at the people that we associate with, would they conclude that we are devotees or would they conclude that we are someone else? So basically this question is asking what kind of associations we prominently have during our day-to-day life, and then see how we can increase devotee association. The third one is friendly relationship with all the living entities. One cannot claim to love Krishna if we hate Krishna children. So all the jivas are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. So we can't hate some of the children of the children of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna, and then say that I love Krishna. So that is why for this third one, we should think about and ask this question: is there anyone towards whom I still have resentment or envy or hatred in my heart? And if you find someone towards whom you have this, then give that up. Learn from Parikshit Maharaj and give the hatred up. Okay. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has also said, if you see our Shikshashtakam, he says, Mama Janmani Janmanishware Bhavatat Bhaktir Ahaituki Tvai. So birth after birth, let me have causeless devotion to you. So similarly, we should also have this desire that we want to have complete attachment to Krishna. I want constant association of Lord's devotees, and I don't want to have envy or hatred towards anyone. I want to have friendly relationship with each and every jiva around us. Okay, let's move on. We are on now 17th verse. Let's read translations. Who's next? Mahendra Prabhu, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. In perfect self-control, Maharaj Pariksit sat down on a seat of straw, with straw roots facing the east, placed on the southern bank of the Ganges, and he himself faced the north. Just previously, he had given charge of his kingdom over to his son. Hare Krishna.
So after giving charge of the kingdom to his son Janmejay, Parikshit Maharaj sat on the kusha grass. Now there are some details which are given, like the kusha grass, their roots should be facing east. Then that is considered more auspicious. And then when you are placing the kusha grass like that, you have to actually face towards the north. Then that is more favorable for attaining spiritual success. 18th verse.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thus the king Maharaja Pariksit sat to fast until death. All the demigods of higher planets praised the king's actions and in pleasure continuously scattered flowers over the earth and beat kettle drums. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So Parikshit Maharaj sat there at the bank of Ganges to fast till death. And the devatas, so not only like these sages who came in front of him, they actually came to know and they were eager to meet Parikshit Maharaj. But devatas also actually started praising the actions of Parikshit Maharaj. And they scattered flowers and then they were beating the celestial drums. So that actually is showing not only those devotees who were present in front, but there were also devatas. They were hovering in the sky to actually hear Srimad Bhagavatam. So there is like a big audience. So it is like a double-decker audience. Some sitting on ground, some are hovering in the sky just to hear the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is going to be starting here. 19th verse.
All the great sages who were assembled there also praised the decision of Maharaja Pariksit, and they expressed their approval by saying, "Very good. Naturally, the sages are inclined to do good to common men, for they have all the qualitative powers of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, they were very much pleased to see Maharaja Pariksit, a devotee of the Lord, and they spoke as follows."
Yeah, so the assembled sages praised the decision of Parikshit Maharaj. And they express by saying sadhu, sadhu, like any devotees, when they want to see something which is very good, they'll say sadhu, sadhu. So all the sages did this dhwani of sadhu, sadhu, expressing that what your decision. You remember, like all of this is happening because Parikshit Maharaj stood in front of them with the folded hands and expressed his desire to fast till death and with the lotus feet of the Lord in his heart. And in response, the sadhus are like the saint sages are saying, sadhu, sadhu, very good, very good. So this is the right decision you're taking. And the verse further says that the sages are naturally inclined to do good for the common people. They got pleased to see a pure devotee of Lord, and then they offered all the blessings which they had in their power. Srila Prabhupada, there is a specific line here around second or third from the bottom, which says, all inauspicious matters are removed from the path of progressive devotees. So if you are sincere to progress towards Krishna, then all the inauspicious matters, like any obstacles from your path will be removed. Krishna will organize that. So thus Parikshit Maharaj was blessed with a curse. So his blessing was this curse. Next verse. Vishaka Mataji, go ahead.
The sages said, O chief of all the saintly kings of the Pandu dynasty, who are strictly in the line of Lord Sri Krishna, it is not at all astonishing that you give up your throne, which is decorated with the helmets of many kings, to achieve eternal association with the personality of Godhead.
So the sadhus, the saintly people who are present in front of Parikshit Maharaj, they are glorifying Parikshit Maharaj and the Pandavas. They are saying that the Pandavas kings, like all the kings in the Pandava dynasty, they have been strictly in the line of Lord Shri Krishna. They were aligned with Lord Shri Krishna. And you are chief of all those kings. So you are best of all those kings. So it is not at all surprising that you have given up your kingdom. And this is not an ordinary kingdom. This kingdom is the kingdom of the entire earth. And that is why it is mentioned that you have defeated so many kings and their helmets are decorated on your throne. But you have given up all of that in order to get the eternal association with God. Because you understand the importance of the goal that you have. So it is not at all surprising that you have given up your material prosperity. The Pandavas are glorified further in the next verse. Bhageshwari Mataji. Okay, whoever is ready, next.
We shall all wait here until the foremost devotee of the Lord, Maharaja Pariksit, returns to the supreme planet, which is completely free from all mundane contamination and all kinds of lamentation.
So it is mentioned further that the sages decided to remain on the same spot until Parikshit Maharaj returns to the supreme planet, Goloka. So for 7 days and 7 nights, these sages said that we are going to be here with you, along with you. Isn't that amazing? That he's getting all these wonderful sadhus who are assembled around him, and they have said that we are not leaving anywhere. We are going to be with you for the next 7 days, 7 nights. They won't actually see Parikshit Maharaj go back to Godhead. When a great devotee passes away, Srila Prabhupada is mentioning in the purport that when a great devotee passes away, there is nothing to lament as he is going back to Godhead. But such a great devotee leave our sight. So there is every reason to lament. Because we are not going to have any association of such a wonderful devotee going forward. So there is every reason to lament. But the devotee is going back to Godhead, there is nothing to lament. So both things are there. It's a great occasion, but at the same time, it is a sad occasion because we are going to lose that association. 22nd verse.
All that was spoken by the great sages was very sweet to hear, full of meaning and appropriately presented as perfectly true. So after hearing them, Maharaj Pariksit, desiring to hear of the activities of Lord Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, congratulated the great sages.
So Pariksit Maharaj, yeah, 22nd verse, right? So all that was spoken by the great sages was very sweet to hear, and that was full of meaning. So Parikshit Maharaj praised the sages for their speech, which he characterized as sweet, impartial, grave, and it was true. So desiring to hear the activities of Lord Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, congratulated the great sages. So he congratulated the great sages, and he desired to hear Krishna Katha. Next verse.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. The king said, O great sages, you have all very kindly assembled here, having come from all parts of the universe. You are all as good as the supreme knowledge personified, who resides in the planet above the three worlds, Satyaloka. Consequently, you are naturally inclined to do good to others, and but this you have no interest either in this life or in the next. Hare Krishna.
So Parikshit Maharaj is praising all the sages, and he's saying you all are kindly assembled here. So you have been very kind to me. You are kindly come here, but at the same time you are saying that you are going to accompany me for 7 days, 7 nights. Further, he says that you are as good as the supreme knowledge personified. Supreme knowledge is Vedas, so Vedas personified. So you are as good as Vedas personified. Because you are all learned and you know the essence of Vedas. And the third thing he mentions about them, that you are naturally inclined to do well of others. You do not have any other interest apart from this. So Srila Prabhupada in the purport is mentioning that the last line of the purport, They have nothing to do in this world save and except reclaim the fallen souls rotting in the material existence, deluded by material energy. So the whole goal of the saintly people is to actually reclaim, to save the fallen souls and connect them to Krishna again. So Parikshit Maharaj is praising them like that. And after saying all of this, then he actually expresses his desires. He asks two questions to these sages, which is in the next verse.
O trustworthy Brahmanas, I now ask you about my immediate duty. Please, after proper deliberation, tell me of the unalloyed duty of everyone in all circumstances, and specifically of those who are just about to die.
So he's saying that properly deliberate now about these two questions and give me a correct answer, like one answer. Because you are, see, he has said the right context in the previous verse. So you are all here, like various different sages are all present there, and you are as good as Veda personified. So you have all the knowledge and you know the essence of all the knowledge. And you are naturally inclined to do good to others, people like me. So please tell me now, what is the unalloyed duty of everyone in all circumstances? Unalloyed duty of everyone in all circumstances, and specifically of those who are just about to die. So, two questions. One, what is the unalloyed duty of everyone in all circumstances? And the second is, what is the specific duty of those who are about to die? And Srila Prabhupada says that everyone is a dying man. So either we are going to die shortly or after 100 years. So these questions and their answers are very relevant for all of us. And then the entire Srimad Bhagavatam, especially from the second canto to 12th canto, are answers to these two questions. What is the unalloyed duty of everyone in all circumstances? And what is the specific duty of those who are about to die? And of course, the answer is devotional service to the Supreme Lord. So both questions can be answered with this one answer. What is the unalloyed duty of everyone in all circumstances is to do devotional service to the Supreme Lord. And what is the specific duty of those who are about to die? Devotional service to the Supreme Lord. And this is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita at the end and in Srimad Bhagavatam throughout. Parikshit Maharaj already knows the answer. But he wants the sages to deliberate and confirm his understanding. Because there are many processes given in the scriptures for self-realization. And Srila Prabhupada is referring that some processes are first class, some processes are second class or third class. Last line, he says that the first class method demands that one give up all other methods and surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord and thus be saved from all sins and their reactions. Because there are so many processes, people are confused. And sometimes people take little from here, little from there, and they will do all of that. And they are thinking they are doing everything. And it is good. But the first class process requires all other processes to be given up and have exclusive devotion, Ananya Bhakti, towards the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. So if we do not know this, then we will keep doing everything and thinking that we are on the right track, which we will not be. Okay, next verse.
Hare Krishna, Guruji. At the moment, there appeared the powerful son of Vyasadeva, who traveled over the earth disinterested and satisfied with himself. He did not manifested any symptoms of belonging to any social order or status of life. He was surrounded with women and children, and he dressed as if others has neglected him.
So while the sages were discussing about these two questions, because Parikshit Maharaj asked them to deliberate upon and give him one answer. So while they were discussing about it, and they were not unanimous in their decision, even though there is Narad Muni, Vyasadeva who are there, who uh, are clearly aware of Ananya Bhakti as the right process, but there are other sages as well who may have different opinions. So while they were deliberating upon all of this, at that time Sukadeva Goswami appeared. So Srila Prabhupada is mentioning, or before that, that just like when there is some disease that we may have, and if you go to different doctors, the doctors may have different uh, opinions about how the disease should be cured. Similarly, different sages may have different opinions about how to achieve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And they will be fixed up on their opinion. So that is how sometimes the sages, even though they are Vedas personified, because Vedas give different processes, the people may be actually attached to a particular way of going towards the Supreme Lord. So that is why they may not be coming to a conclusion, which is one conclusion for everything. So while this was all happening, Sukadeva Goswami has appeared. And it is mentioned that it seems that there was no indication of any ashrama. So he was not showing any indication of any varna or any ashram. And he was satisfied in himself. He was Atma Rama. And interestingly, he was surrounded by women and children. And we will see why in the next few verses. And he was dressed as if others had neglected him. Which means, actually, in the next few verses, it will be mentioned that he was naked. He was not wearing anything. He arrived there. Srila Prabhupada is explaining why about that comment about Varnashram which was made. So Varnashram is for gradual process. It's a gradual process of going towards Krishna. It's a gradual process for purification. But once someone has achieved that goal, then they don't have to actually follow the Varnashram Dharma, because then they are following the Sanatan Dharma. So that is how it is. And he was going around like a madman. And that's why children, they were curious, who is this 16-year-old boy and looking very beautiful, and he's roaming around naked on the street. So that's why some children were going around. 26th.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. The son of Vyasadeva was only 16 years old. His legs, hands, thighs, arms, shoulders, forehead, and the other parts of his body were all delicately formed. His eyes were beautifully wide, and his nose and ears were highly raised. He had a very attractive face, and his neck was well formed and beautiful like a conch shell.
So here, the description of his bodily features is mentioned here. So clearly, by this verse and the next verse that is coming up, we can see that he was quite handsome. He had tender feet, hands, thighs, arms, shoulders, forehead, and other parts of the body were very, very beautiful. He had an attractive face, and his neck was like a conch shell. I can't imagine, like, what is a neck like a conch shell? But clearly, it must be something very beautiful. That's why it is compared to a conch shell. And next verse is continuing. So let us go to the next verse to understand the further description.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dhanwad. Prabhuji, is that council means having the rounds, Prabhu?
The 3 lines?
3 lines here.
Okay, maybe. Okay, who's next? Mahendra Prabhu, go ahead. 27th.
Okay, Avani Mataji, I guess, left the call. Okay, his collarbone was.
Vijaya.
Okay, please go ahead, Mataji.
You sure? Okay. His collarbone was fleshy, his chest broad and thick, his navel deep, and his abdomen beautifully striped. His arms were long, and curly hair was strewn over his beautiful face. He was naked, and the hue of his body reflected that of Lord Krishna.
So again, further description of his body, his beautiful, handsome body has been mentioned. Next one.
Hare Krishna.
Mahendra Prabhu, go ahead. Yeah.
He was blackish and very beautiful due to his youth. Because of the glamour of his body and his attractive smiles, he was pleasing to women. Though he tried to cover his natural glories, the great sages present there were all expert in the art of physiognomy, and so they honored him by rising from their seats. Hare Krishna.
So now you understand why the women were following him. So he was quite handsome, and because of the glamour of his body and his attractive smiles, the women were quite attracted towards him. And though he tried to cover his natural glory and natural beauty, the sages were very, very aware of the physiognomy, and they could understand immediately by seeing him that these are the symptoms of a great personality. And they honored him by rising from their seat. Except for some, of course, like Vyasadeva, Narad, and few others did not stand up, but many others, like all these other sages, too, it stood up. So Srila Prabhupada mentioned in the previous purports that the person is honored for his achievement and not for advanced age. A person can be older by experience, but and not by age. So even though some of these or many of these sages were much elder, because he's just 16-year-old boy. So they were much elder than him, but they still stood up, showing respect for him, just looking at his great personality. Next one.
Maharaja Pariksit, who is also known as Vishnu Ratha, one who is always protected by Vishnu, bowed his head to receive the chief guest Sukadeva Goswami. At that time, all the ignorant women and boys ceased following Srila Sukadeva. Receiving respect from all, Sukadeva Goswami took his exalted seat.
Yeah. 29th verse, right? Yeah. So Parikshit Maharaj, so when everyone stood up, it is not mentioned directly in the translation, but the purport, Srila Prabhupada is filling in what has happened there. So Parikshit Maharaj bowed his head to receive the chief guest. And then all the ignorant children and women left from there, seeing that he is not a madman that they thought, but he is an exalted personality, that all these great sages also are standing up, and our king is also showing some respect to him. So they understood it. Sukadeva Goswami also exchanged greetings. So this is what was not mentioned in the translation directly, but in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is saying that he exchanged the greetings with these sages who are there. So by embrace. So some of them he embraced, some of them he shook his hands with, some he nodded towards, and some he bowed down, especially in front of his father and Narad Muni, he bowed down. And then all of these sages offered him the exalted seat, Vyasasan. So let us see what further happens with Sukadeva Goswami arriving there. Verse number now 30.
Sukadeva Goswami was then surrounded by saintly sages and demigods, just as the moon is surrounded by the stars, planets, and other heavenly bodies. His presence was gorgeous and he was respected by all. Thank you, Prabhuji.
So he was surrounded. So just like some special guest comes and all the devotees immediately surround them and they want to actually talk to them, meet them, ask questions. So something like that is happening here. So Shukadeva Goswami was surrounded by all these Brahmarshis, Rajarshis, Devarshis, and it looked like the moon surrounded by stars and planets. And it clearly shows that he was respected by all of them. 31st verse. Who's next?
You want
Adidevi Mataji. Go ahead, Mataji.
The sage Sri Sukadeva Goswami sat perfectly pacified, intelligent, and ready to answer any question without hesitation. The great devotee Maharaj Pariksit approached him, offered his respects by bowing down before him, and politely inquired with sweet words and folded hands. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. So Sukadeva Goswami sat there perfectly pacified, intelligent, and he was ready to answer any question without hesitation. So Parikshit Maharaj offered his respect, folded his hands, and politely inquired from him. So Parikshit Maharaj is asking in a proper mood. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. So in the purport, it's quite interesting. Okay, we could have. Okay, I'll just mention the important points in the purport. We could have read it, but lack of time, we will just mention. So Srila Prabhupada is mentioning here that what is the purpose of approaching a spiritual master? It should be mainly to solve the problems of life. And Srila Prabhupada is saying quite directly, saying if you don't know how to ask questions before spiritual master, then don't go to see him. So we should be actually understanding that we are supposed to approach a spiritual master for solving the problems of our life, which is why we are here in this material world. How can I go back to the spiritual world? And we should be able to ask questions in the right mood and with the right words. And appropriate questions also should be asked. And if you do not know how to ask, then don't approach. So there is a perfect combination that we can see here. A perfect guru, a perfect disciple. And Srila Prabhupada is saying that both the guru and disciple is going to attain perfection through the medium of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Sukadeva Goswami, he heard Srimad Bhagavatam from Vyasadeva. But till now, he did not get opportunity to speak Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is his opportunity to speak. He has got a perfect audience now. Parikshit Maharaj as well as these wonderful sages around him, they are eager to hear. So just by speaking Srimad Bhagavatam, Sukadeva Goswami is going to attain perfection, and hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, Parikshit Maharaj is going to attain perfection. Amazing combination. 32nd.
The fortunate King Parikshit said, O Brahmana, by your mercy only you have sanctified us, making us like unto places of pilgrimage, all by your presence here as my guest. By your mercy, we, who are but unworthy royalty, become eligible to serve the devotee.
So he's saying, by your mercy and presence only, you have sanctified us, making us into place of pilgrimage. Just by you coming and showing us the mercy, we have become place of pilgrimage now. We are actually unworthy royalty, but we have become now we have become eligible to serve the devotees. So he's referring to himself, Parikshit Maharaj is referring to himself like Kshatriya Bandhu. So just like we referred to Ashwatthama earlier, he was called a Brahma Bandhu. So he was born in a Brahmana family, but he was not considered a real Brahmana because he was doing activities which was not right for a Brahmana to do by killing the 5 sleeping sons of Pandava. But here Parikshit Maharaj himself, he's calling himself a Kshatriya Bandhu. He's a great Kshatriya. He's actually a Vaishnava, a pure devotee. But out of humility, he's saying that I am not even a Kshatriya, I am a Kshatriya Bandhu. Otherwise, how would I would have done the activity of insulting a Brahmana. So I am a Kshatriya Bandhu. So I am a Kshatriya Bandhu, but because of your presence here, we actually all became like a place of pilgrimage. Nice. Okay. Srila Prabhupada is referring in his purport the pastime of Lord Chaitanya and Maharaj Pratap Rudra from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Okay. Next verse, 33rd. Uma Mataji?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Simply by our remembrance you, our houses become instantly sanctified. And what to speak of seeing you, touching you, washing your holy feet, and offering your seat in our home. Hare Krishna.
Amazing. So he's saying that just by remembering a pure devotee, what happens? That it instantly sanctifies a home. Like if you are just remembering a pure devotee, your entire home gets sanctified. What to speak of seeing, touching, or washing lotus feet of such a devotee? The purport is just amazing. It's a short purport. Let's read. Surananda Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. The importance of holy places of pilgrimage is due to the presence of great sages and saints. It is said that sinful persons go to the holy places and leave their sins there to accumulate. But the presence of the great saints disinfects the accumulated sins, and thus the holy places continue to remain sanctified by the grace of the devotees and saints present there. If such saints appear in the homes of worldly people, certainly the accumulated sins of such worldly enjoyers become neutralized. Therefore, the holy saints actually have no self-interest with the householders. The only aim of such saints is to sanctify the houses of the householders, and the householders therefore should feel grateful when such saints and sages appear at their doors. A householder who dishonors such holy orders is a great offender. It is enjoined, therefore, that a householder who does not bow down before a saint at once must undergo fasting for the day in order to neutralize the great offense. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So sinful people go to pilgrimage places so that they can leave their sins there. And all of these sins are accumulated at the place of pilgrimage. But when a saintly person goes there, then the pilgrimage place becomes purified of these sins which are accumulated at this place. And that is how it remains a sanctified place. Because the saintly people have gone there and cleaned or freed it from all the sins which are accumulated. Now imagine such a saintly person which can purify the pilgrimage place comes to your own home. So how wonderful that is. That is why we always recommend and say, encourage everyone that all these wonderful devotees who are traveling all around the world, when they are coming to Wellington, we should always take the opportunity to invite them at our home and host some programs. And by doing so, what happens is our home gets purified. It gets purified of all the accumulated sinful reactions which are there at our home. It is not that we want them to actually come and absorb it, but there is a purifying potency that they actually carry. So just by inviting them to spread Krishna Katha through a program at our home, we are also helping them in their service, but also it automatically purifies us and our home. And there is no other purpose that the saintly people have. They are only coming for purifying. So we should be so much grateful towards them. So there is no benefit that they are getting as such by coming to our home. We are the only ones who are going to get benefited. So we should always remain grateful. So instead of remaining grateful, if we dishonor them somehow or the other, then there is what a great offense that we are committing. So very, very wonderful purport by showing the contrast of the situations. Srila Prabhupada is making a wonderful point that association of pure devotees is so purifying, and we should always remain grateful towards them. 34th.
Just as the atheist cannot remain in the presence of the personality of the Godhead, so also the invulnerable sins of a man are immediately vanquished in your presence, O saint, O great mystic. Hare Krishna.
So just like atheists cannot remain in the presence of Supreme Personality of Godhead. So for two reasons why they cannot remain atheist. If they have seen the Supreme Lord, the atheist means that you don't believe in Lord, right? So now you have seen the Supreme Lord, so you'll start believing because the Lord is there in front. And if you still do not believe in them, then you will be vanquished. So in both situations, the atheist cannot remain in the presence of the Lord. So either they are dead or they get converted into believers. So Srila Prabhupada is referring to examples of Hiranyakashipu. I think in this purport or the next one, I think 35th he's referring to that example. So yeah, either like they did not turn into believers, they did not become suras, they remained asuras, so they got vanquished when they came in presence of the Supreme Lord. We'll read 35 and 36 together. Sudanma Prabhu and Mataji.
Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is very dear to the sons of King Pandu, has accepted me as one of those relatives just to please his great cousins and brothers. Otherwise, without being inspired by Lord Krishna, how is that you have voluntarily appeared here, though you are moving incognito to the common man and are not visible to us who are on the verge of death? Hare Krishna.
So Parikshit Maharaj is always again considering himself unworthy and giving all the credit to his ancestors. He's saying that Sukadeva Goswami has appeared in front of me, which is very glorious that he has appeared. But the reason why he has appeared is because Lord Krishna has accepted me as one of his relatives to show his affection to his cousins Pandavas. And that is why, with the inspiration from Lord Shri Krishna, that you have voluntarily appeared here. Otherwise, how is that possible? You actually roam around the world incognito without even letting anyone know who you are. And in the next few verses, he will say that you don't even stay at one place for more than 5-10 minutes, but you have on your own, you have appeared here. How is that possible? So it is only because uh, the Lord has accepted me as a relative, and that is also because of the Pandavas, my ancestors. Srila Prabhupada is actually mentioning how by Lord's mercy we get Guru. He says, one who is not authorized by the Lord cannot become a spiritual master. So Srila Sukadeva Goswami is an authorized spiritual master, and thus he was inspired by the Lord to appear before Maharaj Pariksit and instruct him in the teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam. And in the last line, he says, the conclusion is that to get the assistance and help of a bona fide spiritual master means to receive the direct help of the Lord himself. So getting spiritual master, so by the mercy of the Guru, by mercy of the Supreme Lord, we get Guru, and by the mercy of this Guru, then we get Lord Shri Krishna. So if we are sincere, then the Lord in heart will send us a Guru. But if we are not sincere in advancing in Krishna consciousness, then this desire to accept a Guru will not pop out. And even if there is some encouragement that we get from externally, we still will keep postponing it. No, we will do it in future. We will do it in future. That shows that we are lacking some sincerity, and Krishna is not inspiring a spiritual master to come and take, as well as is not inspiring you to accept a spiritual master. 37th verse.
You are the spiritual master of great saints and devotees. I am therefore begging you to show the way of perfection for all persons, and especially for one who is about to die.
Actually, here in this verse, Maharaj Pariksit has asked the same two questions which he had asked to sages. Now he has asked them to Sukadeva Goswami. Can you see this? I am therefore begging you to show the way of perfection for all persons, which is the same question as the first one that he asked, and especially for one who is about to die, which is the second question. So he repeated the two questions and asked them to Sukadeva Goswami. Srila Prabhupada is a bit heavy in the purport. He says that spiritual master is not for decoration for a householder. It is not that everyone is taking spiritual master, so we should also take spiritual master, and then we can put some photo, and then everyone who comes and goes from our home, they can say, "Oh, you are a spiritual person." So it becomes like a decoration of our house. But internally, we are not surrendered to the spiritual master. And he says, generally, a fashionable materialist engage a so-called spiritual master without any profit. The pseudo spiritual master flatters the so-called disciple, and thereby both the master and his ward go to hell without a doubt. So the spiritual master should not be accepted as a fashion. That is, because everyone is taking, I will take. And both the spiritual master and the disciple is not like the spiritual master is disciple is not asking any valuable questions, and the spiritual master is not giving any valuable guidance. And in such case, both of them are going to go to hell. But in this situation, Parikshit Maharaj is the right kind of disciple. He is asking the right questions. 38th verse.
Please let me know what a man should hear, chant, remember, and worship, and also what he should not do. Please explain all this to me.
So he is asking what exactly a man should hear, chant, remember, and worship, and what he should avoid doing. So what he should do and what he should not do. Do's and don'ts. 39th.
O powerful Brahmana, it is said that you hardly stay in the houses of men long enough to milk a cow. Correct.
So Parikshit Maharaj noted that Sukadeva Goswami rarely stays in the house of a man longer than milking a cow, because they will go, the mendicants or the saintly people, they will go from door to door asking for some bhiksha, and especially in the morning they will go to get some little milk, and they will stay there just for 5 minutes, take a little glass full of milk, and then they will go ahead. So they will not even stay in the house of the householder for more than 5 minutes. So he is again thinking that how fortunate he is that he's going to be there for 7 days and 7 nights and giving him the knowledge of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srila Prabhupada is saying that whenever some saintly person comes, even if they are there for 5-10 minutes, the householder should ask the pertinent question and get benefited out of their association. Last verse.
Sri Suta Goswami said, "The king thus spoke and questioned the sage using sweet language. Then the great and powerful personality, the son of Vyasadeva, who knew the principles of religion, began his reply."
So thus, being questioned by Parikshit Maharaj, now Sukadeva Goswami is going to start speaking and giving his reply. So we saw that in the 4th chapter of this canto, the question was asked by Shaunakadi Rishis to Suta Goswami. 3 areas of questions, multiple questions, but mainly 3 areas about Srimad Bhagavatam, when, where, why, and whose inspiration did Vyasa compile, and that was responded in the 4th to 7th chapter by Suta Goswami. The story of how Vyasadeva was despondent and Narad Muni came. He told his own story, and through all of that, it was explained. And then there was a question about Parikshit Maharaj, about his birth, activities, and his renunciation. That is what we saw from this 12th chapter to 7th chapter up to 19th chapter. And then about Sukadeva Goswami, was another question. It is asked that how did Hastinapur citizens recognize him, and how did his meeting with Parikshit Maharaj take place? So that was answered specifically here in the 19th chapter. So, and leading to this, like the 18th chapter was also talking about that how Parikshit Maharaj renounced, like the situation, why Sukadeva Goswami appeared there. So that is how there was a long discussion. 3 questions were asked, and it took so many chapters of first canto to answer. But even better than that now is coming. 2 questions are asked by Parikshit Maharaj, and Sukadeva Goswami is going to speak the entire Bhagavatam. Another 11 cantos is going to speak. So we will continue this wonderful conversation between Sukadeva Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj from the second canto onwards. We have thus completed the first canto. Can you imagine this? Like this huge book we have completed already. First canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 19 chapters. So just by steadily hearing and steadily reading it, we have completed it. So let us take some reflections, summary points, and any comments, questions that you may have on what we discussed today. Hare Krishna. Yes, Surananda Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, very nicely explained the importance of Guru and how they purify our heart and our houses. Prabhuji, I asked a question before regarding while taking the decisions. So how to balance between applying your own knowledge and saving the time of the superiors or guru or all the gurus.
Yes. Yeah. So how do we balance that? Yeah. So actually faith is not like a blind faith that we should have. We always emphasized on that a disciple should not have a blind faith on his mentors, Shiksha Guru, Diksha Guru, whatever. It should have a reasonable faith. So we should not be giving up our intelligence. So in case of Parikshit Maharaj, we can see clearly that it was mentioned that based on his own realization, he has already understood that focusing on the lotus feet of the Lord is the highest path. Right? So he has already used his intelligence, his understanding, his experience, he has already used to come to that conclusion. So it was not that intelligence was not used. But there were exalted personalities in front of him, like Narad Muni, like Vyasadev, thinking that you know better in front of them. That is silly. So he is asking right questions in front of them. So that is how it works out, that you are using your intelligence, but sometimes your conclusions may be wrong. In this case, Parikshit Maharaj's conclusion is perfectly right, but we are not Parikshit Maharaj. Our flawed intelligence, our flawed mind may actually take us in different direction, and we may start thinking that what we have decided is right. So it is better to ask right question to senior devotees, and that is how we can actually get a confirmation of what we have already understood or correction to the thinking which may be wrong in our heart. And about the time of the senior devotees, see here in this case, they have arrived specifically because Parikshit Maharaj is going to leave the body, and they are going to be there for 7 days, 7 nights. So Krishna Katha has to start. So that is where he had to actually give them some starting point, right? But in our case, in our day-to-day life, like the generic instructions are available for everyone. So we should not be going for some small things or the same things again and again. There is no point in wasting time like that. So, but it is like any important decision that we are going to take in our life, we can always seek guidance in that case.
Okay,
Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Uma Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. As usual, very inspiring class, Prabhuji. And the desires of Parikshit Maharaj, really great. And especially not to have any inimical or any tendencies towards other people, hatred towards other people is and speaking, criticizing other people. This is the thing we have to really, really work hard. I myself have to work hard. I really very grateful to you for explaining so
Hare
clearly.
Krishna.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you, Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Lochana Harini Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Wonderful session. I've got no words to describe how I felt or how I experienced the whole session. Thank you so much. And first canto is completed, which is like feels like a journey and such of a success. Thank you so much for your wonderful time. I have a question, Prabhuji, not two questions, but just one question around Sukadeva Goswami. So remember in the beginning of this canto, you'd explain how he was born. He was a born liberated, right? He born as a teenager. So, Prabhuji, what was his position in terms of bhakti? So was he like an impersonalist and then he became a bhakta? Or so what was his position, if you can please tell us a little bit?
Yeah, I think we discussed that before, that it is considered that he is focused on impersonal nature of the Lord in the beginning. But when he heard Srimad Bhagavatam from his father, Vyasadev, then he became a bhakta. Then he became a devotee of the Supreme Lord. And that is how his transformation, like Srimad Bhagavatam transformed his life. He became a pure devotee of the Lord from, like finally absolute truth is Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagwaniti Shabdate. So all three are equal. But our realization is at a different level because it is absolute truth, right? Absolute truth cannot be lower or higher when it is at the Brahman level, Paramatma level, or Bhagwan level. So both, like all three, Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan are absolute. But our realization of that absolute truth is at different level. So his realization was at the Brahman level in the beginning, but Srimad Bhagavatam converted him and made him realize the higher nature and higher realization of Bhagwan. So that is when that transformation happened. In association with Vyasadev, a pure devotee, and also association of Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay.
Nice. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Vishakha Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. It was very nice session, Prabhuji. A few points I have noted down that I would share. First is it was very amazing to see that how Parikshit Maharaj accepted his own mistake, because we see even if we do small mistakes, we first justify and then we seek forgiveness. Instead, Parikshit Maharaj is asking for punishment, like the calamity should come and overcome me. So it was very great to see. And second point, if it came in the purport that all inauspicious matters are removed from the path of a progressive devotee. That I just like that point very much. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Hare
So Krishna wants to help us. Krishna wants to help us, and Krishna's devotees also wants to help us. So if we are sincere, if we are progressive, like we are not stagnant devotees, we are progressive devotees, then the obstacles, all the challenges will be removed. And the challenges will be removed in a particular way. Like in Parikshit Maharaja's case, it came as a curse, but still it made him go and hear Srimad Bhagavatam and perfect his life further. Yeah. Sudharma Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji, for the wonderful session. Prabhuji, one thing which captured my mind is don't go and stand before your Guru Maharaj without a proper question. Otherwise, you just leave the place. That's very, very profound, I felt.
No, you should still take darshan.
Yeah. In the sense, like, it's not just, you just go and stand there, at least ask some intelligent spiritual questions,
Definitely,
which is going
definitely.
to
And I
help
think
you.
we should meditate for a while that what kind of question we can ask our spiritual master. It should not be that whole year has passed if we are meeting him after 1 year or even 6 months or few months. And if we do not have any questions, that means like what are we doing? Does it mean that we know everything? in our life about the spiritual path, that can't be true. That only means that we haven't thought deeply enough to ask a right question to our spiritual master. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Very, very valid point for re-emphasizing that, Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you. Prabhuji, the other thing is text 38, where it talks about, like, is that another questions? We talked about two questions by Parikshit Maharaj earlier to Sukadeva Goswami. Is verse number 38 supposed to be two more questions? Like, please let me know how a man should hear, chant, remember, and worship, and also how he should not do, and what he should not do. Is that
No, it is the continuation of the
okay.
same question. It is just
Okay.
more details.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, more
Thank you.
detailed question that he has asked. What he
Okay.
should do, like what is the dharma? So he had just asked for that elaboration.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Gaur Chandra Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Pranam. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So Prabhuji, so many points, and I really liked, how you mentioned about the decisions in spiritual life must be taken, after consulting with seniors, because I have seen in myself sometimes it's a decision that I wish to take, and I know that what a senior would advise me, so I sometimes avoid that because I want to do what I want to do. So that is something, but then somehow say, okay, maybe I'll just take it, and then completely changes my perspective. And then I later I think that okay, it's good that I did do that. Otherwise, I would have done what I thought, and it would have actually. So thank you so much. That I will continue to do that. Whether I, what I think about the Ganges, River Ganges, and River Yamuna. You explained how River Yamuna is, like this is more potent. Just one point I heard yesterday, Prabhuji, in a class. I would like to mention it about Guru Tattva. It was saying that Guru Tattva is a very special and very unique. Why? Because Guru Tattva is the only Tattva where humanness and transcendence unite. And that's why it's a very, very, very special Tattva. So I really liked it. I thought I'd just share it with you all.
Thank you
So
for
thank you
sharing.
so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Tandrapana.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Sannivas Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Guruji, Dandavat Pranam.
And
Very, very, very nice way you presented the last chapter of this canto. And it gives a very clear understanding what we have to have these two questions in our life, even because as Srila Prabhupada mentioned, we are all very near to death. So these two questions to meditate on is very important. But as we heard, we know this one, we heard this one long before as well. But what makes us to forget these questions? Again, we tangle into other things, and then we don't come back to this one. That's my first question, Prabhu. Can you?
Maya. Okay, sorry, Prabhuji.
Mataji answered your question.
Prabhuji, didn't know I was not muted. Sorry, Prabhuji.
Yeah, we have a challenge, Prabhu, in our life that we are too attracted. Actually, it all started because of this desire to enjoy separately from the Supreme Lord. Because we have this desire to enjoy separately from the Supreme Lord, the Lord had to actually create this material world. And the more we associated with the material world, and association, we remember, like we have discussed this, that the intimate association where we actually get the desires is the real association, right? And we have associated with this material world in that intimate way for many, many lifetimes. And because of that intimate association, we have accumulated so many material desires in our heart. So now we have started associating with the devotees. We have started associating with Srimad Bhagavatam. But the material desires that we have accumulated, they are still overpowering us. So this is why that anartha nivritti process is there, like when the nine steps of purification, which are mentioned by Rupa Goswami, adho shraddha, it's like from faith, then sadhu sangha, then bhajana kriya, then anartha nivrutti, and then nishtha, then ruchi asakti bhava prem will come. So because like why that anartha nivrutti process mentioned there in between, anartha nivrutti is nothing but removing material desires and replacing them with spiritual desires. Removing the mode of ignorance, mode of passion, mode of goodness, and putting Shuddha Sattva, pure goodness there. So, because of these accumulation and our intimate association with material desires, we are captured, we are completely surrendered unto those desires. And it is a struggle. Like we now understand theoretically, we understand that these spiritual desires are good and I have to actually go in this direction. But practically, our senses are attached to this enjoyment. And there is constant struggle. Like the game of like that rope, which is pulled from both sides. And sometimes this group is pulling, sometimes that group is pulling. So that is always going on. This push and pull that is going on. So that struggle is called Anartha Nivrutti stage. Unfortunately, it takes long time to purify because we have accumulated it over a long time, like many millions of lifetimes we have accumulated. So it takes a while for us to clean all those material desires of enjoyment, and then slowly the spiritual desires will come in. And more sincere we are, the more spiritual desires will come in. Like more association we take with spiritual devotees or Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra basically, then more and more spiritual desires will come in and they will keep replacing the material desires. So it is like that if you want to actually put a graph like a bar chart, material desires and spiritual desires. So they will, this material desire bar will actually reduce from 100 to 99, 98, 50, 40 like that. And our spiritual desires will grow like this from 1 to 10%, 15% like that. It will grow. So when it tips beyond 50, then the speed increases because now then predominantly we are in the spiritual nature, spiritual desires. So at that time that we want more and more of the spiritual things, and then we will make faster progress. But before then, material desires are overpowering us. So it will take a while. Is that okay?
Yes, Prabhu, very nicely explained, Prabhu. And Prabhuji, what can we do to remind these two questions as a everyday into our heart? How can we remember these two questions? Because it's so important. That's where the Srimad Bhagavatam discussing on the pacing of this one. What
Yeah.
can we do for?
So instead of remembering those two questions, we can just remember one answer, because both questions are answered by just one thing, that devotional service to the Supreme Lord. And that is why it is said, always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. So if we can memorize this, that always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. Anything that we are doing in our life, before that, we should actually check that on this scale, on this factor, that at this point that I'm trying to do, this situation, this action, is that going to help me remember Krishna or forget Krishna? And then do like that. If you remember that, that's good.
Wonderful answer, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Bhageshwari Mataji.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. I just have a reflection. The way you have explained, Prabhuji, it was like very amazing. And also, I always feel like these chapters, while you're explaining, it was not only theoretically, but practically how to apply as well. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for that. That actually helps a lot. Especially of this Pariksit Maharaj, today's session about Pariksit Maharaj expressing his desires, how he has to be. And also you have also mentioned a point that how Pariksit Maharaj desired birth after birth to be completely attached to Krishna itself. So that should be the one, even if we are going to ask Krishna about any wish. So That's kind of quite eye-opener, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mataji. I have special love for Parikshit Maharaj for some reason. Every time I just read Srimad Bhagavatam, Parikshit Maharaj just gives me goosebumps. Like there are so many great personalities which are mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, but Parikshit Maharaj is just amazing. I feel special love for him. Nice. Thank you, Mataji. Lochana Harini Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. I'm sorry, I forgot I had made a note, Prabhuji, like a question to ask you, and I forgot. Sorry about that.
So this is your second question. You said you had only one,
Sorry,
but now
yes.
you have remembered the second one.
Sorry, Prabhuji. I had it in front of me, but I got sort of
Go ahead.
sidetracked. Thank you. Prabhuji, remember in one of the slides you were talking about ideal desires to have? That was a wonderful slide. So there were three things you had mentioned. First is complete attachment to Lord Krishna. Second is association with his devotees. And third is friendly relationship with all living entities. Now, if someone kind of aspires to follow these three desires, first and third are still, we can kind of see practically possible. We can still do that. But the second one, association with his devotee on a constant basis, this is not possible, Prabhuji, looking at our present lives. We work and we do several things. So is it like is this referring to in-person association or mental association with the devotees?
See, as much as we can get. So this is what we have to actually see, how much association we are able to take in our current situation. And actually, when we are saying association, it doesn't mean we have to actually have constant physical association of our spiritual master or a mentor or a Shiksha Guru or any senior devotees. Because if you look at Srila Prabhupada's life, he hardly met Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj. Few times he met. And every time he would have met for some little time. But the association that he is taking is the instruction of his spiritual master. So that is why it is mentioned that the association can be taken by Vapu and of Vani. So association of Vapu is great. Like when the spiritual master is still present on the planet, we should take as much Vapu association as practically possible. But Vani association is encouraged and glorified more because that is always with us. The instructions of the spiritual master are always with us. And those instructions, if we take seriously, sincerely, then our life will become successful. And that is what Srila Prabhupada showed by his own example. That after many years as well, he did a lifetime of preparation, and after many years of receiving instruction from his guru, of preaching it in English language and publishing books in English, he did it. And he was successful by the potency of the instruction of his spiritual master. So we have to actually also take even one simple suggestion or instruction that we get from the spiritual master, we can make it a life, it as our life and soul. And even when the spiritual master has left the planet, we can still continue in that association of the spiritual master if we follow the instructions.
Right, Prabhuji. So following the instruction of devotees, including our spiritual master, is as good as having the association.
Association, that's right.
Okay,
that's
that
the
makes
Vani
sense.
association. And we can always hear the spiritual master's lectures or other senior devotees' lectures.
Sure.
And that is how we can actually get some further association.
Yeah.
And based on that, if we actually get some questions, then we can ask the spiritual master that this is what you are speaking on some lecture here, and I had this question, and that is how we can get further instructions and clarifications.
That's awesome. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mother. Sudan Mahaprabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. It's not a question or a realization, but appreciation. You started 1st of June last year and finished 28th June. It's a perfect storm of selling the temple, moving, shifting things. It's commendable, Prabhuji.
Yeah, this is the only thing that is giving me solace, Prabhuji. Otherwise, the main reason I mentioned to few of the devotees that the main reason in this busy schedule we are doing this activity is to keep myself sane. Otherwise, without Srimad Bhagavatam guiding, it will be a hard sailing. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you
That is
for
helping
doing
me.
this, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare.
Thank you very much. I think next week is, I think some of the Bhakti Shastri students who are attending here, they are having exam, right, on Sunday?
It's Saturday,
So,
Prabhuji.
oh, is it Saturday?
Yeah.
Okay.
4th of July is the exam date, Prabhuji.
Okay, so you can still attend the 5th of July then. Okay. We will then start from the second canto in the next week. I was thinking that okay, is it like an exam? But if it is on Saturday, then we can probably still continue. Okay, fine. We'll pause here.
Hare Krishna.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Great Ambarish Maharaj Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.